Okay, we have discussed multiplying, adding, and subtracting with polynomials, and now it's kind of natural that we're moving on to dividing. And dividing is a concept that that worries a lot of people, and so I guess all I can say is that we will definitely do everything we can to try and make this a little less mysterious. But we have for today's lesson, the things that we've gone over already should help you tremendously. So I think in order to teach this, first, what I want to do is I want to go over a kind of an important concept, all right? And so the important concept is that when you divide something where you have more than one term on top, so let's say we have, let me see, all right, let's go, you'd think I would like plan this out ahead of time, but you know, of course I don't. Let's say I have 16x squared minus 10x plus 2, okay? And it's all over 2. All right, something like this. Now, most of you understand like the idea that when you divide a polynomial or something that's more than one term together by one number, that basically what you've put together is you've put together a fraction with a common denominator, right? And so what we do is we break it apart, and what we've taught you, or what I've taught, I guess, is to think of it like, okay, first you got to do like this one, and then you got to do this one, right? And then you got to do this one, right? And so you've got like 3 different problems you got to do. And so I think it's helpful if we're going to talk about it that way to basically just let's just bust this up, all right? So let's say that we're gonna make this red right here, okay? So if we do that, then we're going to have 16x squared over 2, okay? And then you have, if we make this green, then you have negative 10x over 2, and then you have your last one, 2 plus 2 over 2. Okay, and then you simplify it, right? You do what you know how to do, which is, oh, all right, 2 goes into 16 8 times, and that's really the only thing you can do, right? 1 here, 8 here. Here you would say 2 goes into 10 5 times and into itself once. 2 goes into itself once in each case. And so then you have a simplified polynomial, right? That's been doing that. So what we're going to do today is exactly the same thing. We're just doing it where we're going to have some terms other than just constants on the bottom. All right. So we now know how to deal with division problems with fractions, where you have variables on the top and the bottom, right, using our exponent properties, and just some kind of basic common sense with dividing and with fractions, and just putting all these years that you've been seeing these things sort of to use. All right. So this is our first one. All right. So we've got 6x to the 4th y to the 3rd plus 12x to the 3rd y squared minus 18x squared y. Now, a couple different ways you could do this. Most of you can recognize that, hey, I can pull a factor of x squared y out of all of this and then blah, 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 and then multiply it. But what I think is an easier way to approach this is just to do okay, let's break this up. And so let's take this first one here, right? And we're going to go 6x to the 4th y cubed, and we're going to put it over our denominator. So we're going to put it over 3xy. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing with the other 2 terms. We're not going to do anything fancy, right? We're going to go 12x cubed y squared over the same thing, 3xy, and then negative 18x squared y is my last one over 3xy. And then we will work with what we know how to work with fractions. All right. First of all, let's do because we just did dividing by monomials. We're rock stars at this now, right? So we do 6 divided by 3, so you're going to have a 2 on top, okay? Let's just leave it kind of like this for now. We'll see if we need the fractions later. X to the 4th over x. Well, 4 minus 1 is 3, and so this is going to wind up on top. So we're going to have x to the 3rd on top. And then we have y to the 3rd over y. Well, one of those y's, right, if you think of, you know, these as 1s, 3 minus 1 is 2, right? So you have y squared up on top because it's a positive exponent. And so on this one, I don't need anything below here. So I'm going to have 2x to the 3rd y squared for my finished answer. All right, and just go through and kind of do the same thing, right? 3 goes into itself once, and it goes into 12 4 times. So we're going to have 4 over 1. And same thing, x to the 3rd over x to the 1. Well, 3 minus 1 is 2. So we have that. And then 2 minus 1 for your y's gives you just 1. So that 1 as well is not going to have a denominator. And then this one, 3 goes into itself once. It goes into 18 6 times. All right? X to the 2 over x is just going to give me, let's see, we'll go minus 6 over 1. And then x to the 2 minus 1 is just x to the 1, x. And then these y's cancel. And if you don't want to think about it that way, think of it as 1 minus 1 is 0, and y to the 0 equals 1. So it kind of goes away. So this is what you wind up with, right? And all we did, right, was that basic idea of taking this term right here and distributing it in a division kind of way across all of the terms, right? And so if you can do that kind of in your head this way, that's fine. Otherwise, just write it out, and it's pretty straightforward, not super complicated. Yeah, so that's kind of how these work. There's going to be one more video with one more example on here. So I hope this is helpful. And if you feel ready to go on and do this, then go on and do it. Otherwise, check out the other example.